Everyone, welcome to Wednesday the 3rd of June 2020. Today our LI is to use inference to answer questions. We are going to be starting a new unit of work and we're going to be reading the book Skellig today. We're also going to be creating this work for the new teachers in your secondary schools, so we need to make sure we concentrate and work especially hard on this unit. I've emailed you all the first 3 chapters for today's lesson, so please read those 3 right now, so you can pause the video and go ahead and do that, just so that you know exactly what we're doing for this lesson. I'm not going to actually sit and read the chapter to you. I think you're old enough to do that by yourself. It is important that you read the chapters I send you so that it's easier for you to keep up with the work that's being set. In today's lesson, we're going to be working on our comprehension skills and using PEE, which is point, evidence, and explain. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the book cover. Now, the one that you have in front of you might be different to what we have on the screen. Ideally, I would like you just to look at the one that is closest to you, whether it's on the computer or if you're in school, if it's the one in front of you. And these are the questions that I would like you to answer about the front cover. And I want you to write this in your book, please. What do you think this book will be about? What sort of story do you think it is and why? Does the title give anything away? What do you think Skellig means? And who might enjoy it and why? Okay, so I want you to do that now in your books. Look at all of the information that you can see, the picture, any writing, any reviews, anything that's written on the book itself. Only on the front cover though, do not look at the blurb, only the front cover. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, so now I want you to look at the blurb at the back, and it says, Michael steps into the crumbling garage. What is this thing beneath the spider's webs and dead flies? A human being or a strange kind of beast never seen before? The only person Michael can confide in is Mina. Together they carry the creature into the light, and Michael's world changes forever. So what I would like you to do now is think about whether your answers to those questions you did before on the front cover are correct. Did you make the right predictions based on what is in the blurb? Now your blurb might be slightly different, so just use what you have there to help you. Okay, and I want you to have a think about whether your answers were close, or do you think actually my predictions weren't so great? Okay, so for our first lesson, we're going to be looking at answering PEE questions. So let's remind ourselves of what PEE stands for. So P is point, which is your opinion or answer. Evidence is find a quote that supports your opinion or answer. And an explanation, how does the quote support the point that you want to make? So remember, we use all of these when we are answering longer questions to make our answers full, using evidence and showing that we have real understanding of the story. Okay, so let's look at an example of a PEE question. How does David Almond present the character of Michael in Skellig? So our point is that we think he is a very inquisitive person and will often defy his own parents. For our evidence, one quote is, I stood daring myself to go in. And the other one is, didn't we tell you to wait till we're sure it's safe? So that's when Mum is telling him off for going into the garage. The explanation, despite knowing he isn't allowed in the garage, he still goes in and gets into trouble. This doesn't seem to bother him in the slightest. And this quote can also be used to support the opinion that Michael likes to investigate places and is quite brave too. Okay, so that is our plan for our longer answer. So on our next slide, we are going to look at, so our answer will be like this. Michael is an inquisitive boy who doesn't really listen to his parents. This is shown when Michael describes daring myself to go in, and also when Mum tells him off by saying, didn't we tell you to wait till we're sure it was safe? This tells us that Michael is very curious about the garage and quite brave. He seems to think he can defy his parents and carry on doing what he wants. He also seems brave as he not only enters the creepy garage, he also ignores his parents' instructions too. So we're showing an understanding of character, and we are showing an understanding of how Michael is in relationship with his parents, and how well he actually, well, in a way, kind of respects them and listens to what they have to say. Okay, so this is how we would use PEE when we are using or answering longer questions that require evidence from the text. Okay, so now I want you to have a go, and I want you to use chapter 3 to help you with this answer. How does the writer create a sense of decay and aging in chapter 3? Use evidence from the chapter to support your answer. So if you have a look at chapter 3, you are actually describing, or the author is actually describing the way the garage is and the things that are in the garage, and it's actually quite gross, actually, some of the description that has been used, the references to spiders' webs and blue bottle flies. There's lots and lots of really good description here. So I want you to use some of that evidence to support your answer, and into how the writer creates a sense of decay and aging in this chapter. So remember to use your point, evidence, explain structure when you're doing your paragraph. So pause the video here and have a go at this work, please. Okay, hope you found that okay. Now what I would like you to do, just so that you have definitely shown me that you have read chapters 1 to 3, I would like you please to answer these questions in your books. There is a clue to where you will find the information, because it says P1, which means page 1 or page 3 or page 5, according to where the work is going to be or where you can find your answers. Please write the answers in full sentences, and if you are at home still doing your online learning, please can you email them to us. If you're at school, then of course you can send or show your teacher, whoever's with you in the classroom, your work. Okay, so there are 2 slides for this. You have these questions which are here, so you can pause the video and do these questions first, and then there is another page of questions to follow. Okay, so please have a go. Hopefully it should be quite straightforward for you, and use the text. All the answers can be found in the work. Okay, so let's go through the answers together then. So which words describe the man lying in the darkness? So we've got the man was described as filthy, pale and dried out. He was also referred to as a creature. So out of PEE, you are using the evidence part for this question. Number 2, what does the phrase danger money mean? So danger money is actually when you are paid additional money for a job that is dangerous and where you will risk your life. And here they were referring to clearing out the garage, and that many people that were called to do that job said even if they were being paid danger money, they wouldn't do it, because obviously the garage was quite a dangerous place. Number 3, find a phrase or word in the text that shows the garage is in a poor state. So there are many examples of this, and you would have found more when you were doing your chapter 3, the work that you were doing for your PEE question as well, I'm sure. But what I found on page 3 was the bits of floor you could see between the rubbish were full of cracks and holes. So that is one example. You could have others. So don't just think if you've only written something different and not this piece of writing or evidence that you've got it wrong. No, just check through it and see if you think you've answered the question, then give yourself a tick and then send your work in so we can have a look. Question 4, find a repeated phrase that shows that Michael is disappointed in the garden. So he keeps repeating, there were going to be. That suggests that he's quite disappointed, and at the moment I don't think he's filled with a lot of hope that something is going to happen. Number 5, who is telling the story? The story is from the viewpoint of Michael. Nice and easy. Number 6, what is Michael's relationship with his family like? Use evidence from the text. So for this one, I've purposely not used PEE because I think you can do that better. But one part of the evidence you could use is when he refers to the baby as stupid baby. which isn't very nice, obviously. And it seems that they have quite a tense relationship with his parents, as we've already discovered, because he wants to always go in the garage and his mum is saying no. And she's obviously more worried about the baby as well. And he shows that he kind of resents his sister too. So I would like you to do this question in a bit more detail. So if you haven't done that, it would be great if you could do that. Number 7, how can you tell that Michael's attitude about the garage has changed? So he stopped Dad from shaking it as he was worried that he would hurt the person that was living inside. So he's obviously changed his attitude. He doesn't just think it's something that needs to be knocked down. It's actually someone's home. So he's being very, very probably changed his attitude and is telling Dad, don't shake it. I don't want the person to get hurt. So he's actually showing a bit of a caring nature. Okay, number 8. From the first paragraph, what do you think the text is going to be about? So this one, I've just left it up to you. You can do it yourself and you can work out what you think is going to happen in this paragraph. Number 9. What effect does the narrator have when he refers to the Doctor as Dr. Death? So to me, when he first used the word Dr. Death, I thought it was an evil character and that wherever he goes, he gets bad news and brings bad things and bad news wherever he goes. Okay, number 10. Explain why the writer chose a dark setting for the man to be in. What effect does it have on the reader? So a dark setting is one where you have the author describes the insects and the horrible place that is the garage, and it really does bring it to life, and it definitely makes the man seem more mysterious and scary, and it's almost like Michael is venturing into the unknown. So number 11, what can we learn about Michael's attitude to the baby? So he doesn't seem to like the baby at all and actually seems to resent her. Number 12, what does Michael's mum do to comfort him? So she just keeps touching his arm and reassuring him that everything's going to be all right, but I don't actually believe that he believes her. I think he's actually still quite angry with her. And the next two questions, 13 and 14, I purposely not put answers down because these are for you to show us that you have good understanding of the text. So you need to write both of those answers, and then all of your work, as I've said, needs to be emailed in so that we can see how well you're getting on. Please make sure you are reading everything and doing this work because, like I said, it is going to secondary school, so you need to have a really good understanding of the story. Okay. I hope you enjoyed reading the story and that you're looking forward to carrying on reading our further chapters tomorrow, and I will speak to you then.